empires make a way in the wilderness from, Isaiah 43. This, it's so important to know that they're using the same passages as are familiar to us from other environments, but totally different. Now we're going to get the Qumran interpretation of Habakkuk 2:4. This is going to build up to it the same way that community rules builds up to making a way in the wilderness. In fact, it almost comes, that's column 8 of community rule. This is going to be around column 7 of the Habakkuk Pesher. I've got some pictures of the Habakkuk Pesher in the New Testament Code. I think there's probably maybe one in here. I'm not sure. I think there is in my book here of the actual columns, what they look like. Let me see if I've got one in here. This thing is getting so messed up and marked up that I don't even know where the pictures are in this thing. Usually they're in the middle of the book, but I surely don't see them in the middle of the book, so we'll just skip it at the moment. I think I have it in here. Let's see if I have it in here. A picture of the Habakkuk commentary. Let's see. This is a picture, as I told you, of the Cairo Damascus document. Columns, I think that's probably manuscript A. And this is a picture of a Qumran parallel from K4 to that column with material preceding it. And then, for instance, let's see if I find something from, well, I think this is from the Nahum Pesher here. This is a picture of the Nahum Pesher, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. Prophet Nahum. And this here, I think is, yeah, this is the Habakkuk here. There. And this is actually the last column of the Habakkuk, where it says, God is in his holy temple. All is, let all the world be still before him, which is an incredibly moving passage. And it interprets that to, at the time of the last judgment, God will condemn all servants of idols and evil ones. Well, I'll read it to you because it's so moving here in a way. All the world will be silent before him. Column 13, its interpretation concerns all the nations, that is the foreign countries, who serve but stone and wood. But on the day of judgment, God will destroy all the servants of idols and evil ones from off the earth. That's an amazing finish. From people who are obviously going to be killed themselves and are not going to survive. And to me, it's their last, shall we say, curse on the people who are coming to destroy them. They know they're going to be destroyed. And it doesn't really matter to them because on the day of judgment, God is going to destroy all these evil people from off the earth. That's so familiar, yet it's so, if you're Jewish, it's so un-Jewish because that's not the way most Jews talk nowadays. Because Rabbinic Judaism isn't like that, but Rabbinic Judaism didn't exist at this time. This is before Rabbinic Judaism. Rabbinic Judaism only starts to get powerful and promoted and grow under the Romans, as we've seen. Phariseeism turns into Rabbinic Judaism. After the fall of the temple, the destruction of all of these groups, Rabbinic Judaism is the only form of Judaism that the Romans, I think, are willing to live with. Just like, to my mind, Pauline Christianity is basically the only form of Christianity that the Roman Empire is willing to live with, and it's adopted ultimately by Constantine as the official religion of the Roman Empire. But all the other variant forms are not tolerated. But anyway, let's get on with this. The vision which Habakkuk the prophet saw. How long, O Lord, shall I cry out for help? First line. Its interpretation concerns something, but the beginning of the last probably generation. So the first and the last is important, and probably what is coming to them. It's fractured here because it's the beginning of the roll, and it's badly preserved. I cry out, violence, deliver me. This is from Habakkuk 1:2, 1:3. Something about evil, robbery, violence. Its interpretation concerns. You know what that is in Hebrew? Pesherah. Its interpretation. concerns those who rebel against God with oppression and treachery. So we already have the allusion to treachery, traitors. The New Testament is very big on traitors. Judas Iscariot is supposed to be a traitor to the movement and so on and so forth. This is very big on traitors too, but the traitors are the opposite of Judas Iscariot. Anyway, something about robbing riches. If you look in your Josephus, the part we weren't able to get to, leading up to the war against Rome in the 50s, there's all sorts of material about the violent Herodians, and one Saul, called in Josephus Saulus because that's the Greek nominative. One Saul, who's an Herodian family member, who has some violent Confederates who rob the poor priests of their tithes. It's repeated twice in the Antiquities. And there's assassination of high priest by the Sicarii in the 50s. All this is going on. You know, there's a wall built in the temple so that the King Agrippa II, the Herodian fourth generation descendant of Herod, but through the Maccabean family line, so that he can't watch the sacrifices of the temple while he's sitting on his balcony in his palace. You know, the other day, if you read the newspapers, the Israelis say they found Queen Helen's palace. And it's so big and sumptuous that they're sure it's Queen Helen's palace. And Queen Helen, I dedicated my James book to her two descendants who martyred themselves on the pass at Beit Horon in the first days of the war. You say, where do you get all this stuff? It's all in Josephus. It's from reading Josephus carefully. Partly in the war, partly in the Antiquities. That's in the war because the Antiquities ends with the stoning of James and the enumeration of all the high priests. But the Antiquities tells about Queen Helen's conversion to Judaism. It's in book 20 of the Antiquities, and it starts off with it, and that's in the 40s. So that's extremely important data. I mean, my final theory is that Queen Helen is very big in the revolutionary movement. Queen Helen's sons participated in the war against Rome. Many are killed. I think that the revolutionaries, the Messianic Party, whatever, are looking to people like Queen Helen who are